everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Humans of STEMPeers, a collaboration between the Addictive Brain and STEMPeers. STEMPeers is a non-profit organization aiming to build network among scientists, engineers, and entrepreneurs. With this series, you will see many members of STEMPeers talking about their lives, careers, inspiration, and aspirations. Our first guest is Dr. Arumugham Raghunathan, aka Ragoo. Raghu received his PhD in animal science from the University of Hyderabad, India, and he completed his postdoc at Wesleyan University in Connecticut. He also did a second postdoc at Yale University. Post this, he transitioned into the industry as a technology specialist working at Kiagent. Currently, he is working as the Director of Business Development in Sefro. Today, we will talk with Raghu about his journey from academics to industry, about STEM peers, and his work. Welcome and thank you, Raghu, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction.
Thank you. Uh, to start with, can you tell us something about your PhD and postdoc research career?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for doing this, what you're doing. Addictive Brain seems like a great platform.
Thank
And
you.
the connection collaboration with STEM peers, I think it's going to be really good. And thanks for doing that. And also, thanks for having me on this as your first guest. Um, a connection to addictive brain, quote unquote brain, is my background also is in neuroscience.
Oh,
Started with neuroscience, just like you did. And now I'm on the dark side of things. People like to call it the dark side, the field based of business development
yeah.
side of things. But you asked about PhD and postdoc. I started off my PhD in University of Hyderabad in India.
Okay.
It was also called Central University those days. It's pretty high, well ranked, highly ranked in India. And my PhD was in animal sciences. The focus was neuroscience, studying DNA binding proteins in rat brain.
Okay.
My PI was Dr. Vemuri. We worked together. Well, we are still in touch after so many years. We still call each other supportive and helpful to each other in our careers and life. So I think it's really important to have that connection if you can,
Yes.
right, with your mentors and your guides over time. After that, in '93, I came over to the US for my first postdoc.
Yeah.
Um, it was at Wesleyan, as you said in the intro. It was a neuroscience lab where I studied protein tyrosine phosphatase, which is specific to the brain.
Okay.
And eventually, over time, after I left the lab,
Yeah.
um, it was found that this particular protein was had a role in many neurological disorders,
Mhm.
starting from Alzheimer's to Parkinson's and
Okay.
Huntington's. So it was a nice little collaboration there. Then I moved to a second postdoc at Yale in a genetics lab. And this was a huge lab. There were about 20 postdocs in the lab, a lot of funding,
Yeah.
right? It was a huge lab. And this is where actually I got exposed to collaboration, teamwork, interacting with a lot of people, doing multiple projects at the same time,
Okay.
multitasking, and also the curiosity, the bug of entrepreneurship and biotechnology bit me, right?
Okay.
Because the professor was a well-known professor and was
Yeah.
into biotech. So,
Oh,
about 7, 8 years of postdocing.
okay. That's a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, right.
7, 8 years is a long time for postdocs.
Definitely, definitely. That's why I tell people I talk to, don't worry about how long your postdoc,
Yeah.
right? See what you can do next.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that brings to my next question. Tell us something about the invention of whole genome sequencing that you did.
Oh yeah. It's not whole genome sequencing. A little correction. Whole genome amplification. Right.
Okay.
So basically, the technology is a method to amplify DNA
Okay.
using a isothermal polymerase,
Yes.
right? So it's an enzyme, unlike PCR, where you have to cycle it
Yeah.
multiple to get temperature points. This amplifies DNA single temperature by a method called multiple displacement
Okay.
amplification, right?
Okay.
So you have a primer, it amplifies DNA, and then it makes another branch, and the polymerase actually cuts from the back, opens it up, and now you have two templates. And again, that primes and it makes more DNA. So
Okay.
it just keeps amplifying DNA nonstop.
Yes.
As long as the enzyme is there, as long as the NTPs is there, it'll keep amplifying DNA. So when I got into my first biotech company,
Yeah.
called molecular staging,
Yeah.
and I got into a cell-based assay group. And
Okay.
there's another group which is developing methods, technology called MDA and RCA. MDA stands for multiple displacement amplification. RCA is rolling circle amplification.
Okay.
So where the template is a rolling circle, basically,
Yeah.
right? So we adapted this method, this technology to amplify DNA and realized you can actually amplify the entire genome, right? So if you start from a small amount of starting material, say for example, 10 cells or 1 nanogram of DNA, you have multiple copies of the genome.
Yes.
So if you had to do epigenetics
Hmm.
or do population studies,
Yes.
do southern blots, those days southern blots were very big.
Yes.
If you had to do multiple experiments from one DNA sample and you didn't have enough DNA, you needed more templates. So the technology was used to amplify the DNA,
Okay.
especially when you do collaborative research. You borrow some DNA, then you can make more of that and do more experiments, right? So that method was developed to amplify DNA.
Okay.
And I was in a group where we focused on bacteria.
Yeah.
And I have the first publication where we showed we could amplify DNA,
Hmm.
genomic DNA from a single E. coli bacterium,
Okay.
right? And that was the first paper out there. So worked with a nice team of people.
Yeah.
They're all in different places, nice places right now, but co-developed that code, got my name into the patent, etc. Um, optimized the method. We commercialized the technology there,
Yeah.
made it into a kit,
Okay.
and then we started commercializing it.
Okay.
Right? So that was the whole process. But then the technology got bought by Kyogen, and then it got commercialized as a different product.
Okay.
And so that led to my transition into the industry, into the
Okay.
field side of the industry.
So, as we are talking about transition, when and why did you decide to move out of academics?
Good question, right? Everybody wants to know what triggered you. I don't know. It is. As I was getting into my, like I said, 8th year of postdoc,
Yeah.
you start looking at what do I really want, right? What do I really want to do in the future?
Hmm.
What am I doing currently? What are my strengths and weaknesses? Do I enjoy coming to the lab day and night, taking care of these cells and growing cells and doing experiments, coming to lab meetings in the evenings or weekends? It
Yeah.
was a high pressure lab that I was in at the end.
Okay.
And then and I also was exposed to this entrepreneurship and biotech industry because my PI was an entrepreneur, serial
Oh.
entrepreneur. He had started up a couple of labs. So I got, like I said earlier, I got that bug at that point, and I was looking at it and said, I I want to enjoy life. I want to go out there. I don't want to be coming into lab every day.
Yeah.
I want to spend more time with the family, with the
Yes.
kids, right? I want to make more money. That's another thing that you should be
Yes.
ashamed of.
Yeah.
You want to settle down in your life. You want to buy a house. There's
Okay.
so many things that start coming into your head. You evaluate all of this and see where you are. Can you use your skill set to move into something good? What are your strengths and weaknesses? So I think that was a time when things started turning around for me. um,
Okay.
and then I said, okay, let me try to get the first opportunity and get out of here. Got
Yes.
the support of my PI,
Okay.
and friends. You talk to your friends, people who's who are with you, who like you, have a support system, and
Yeah.
then make the transition. This was in 2000 when I did my first transition after 8 years of
Okay.
postdoc into a biotech
Yeah.
company. I tried a couple things before I actually went into a science job. I wanted to transition into bioinformatics. It was totally different for me. I
Yes.
took a couple courses. I learned programming. I learned database management. I did some moonlighting in the evenings. I would do some part-time jobs to see what I liked. I
Yeah.
worked at the eye hospital developing the database.
Mhm.
It was fun
Yeah.
trying out different things. And
Yeah.
then eventually I was interviewed at biotech companies
Uh-huh.
and then got this job. And when I was actually part-timing at that hospital doing database stuff. And when I left for my first job,
Yeah.
I told them I'm going into a company, biotech company for a scientist job. And they're like, but you're a computer guy. How do you go as a molecular biologist? I said, nope. I'm a scientist by
Yeah.
profession. I was just doing this for fun. So yeah,
So,
that's when I transitioned.
okay. So, as you said about your mentors supporting you for your transition,
Hmm.
but many mentors nowadays, what I have seen, are not
Hmm.
very supportive. So, what are your suggestions during that time for those people?
Yeah. It's a very good question. It's an important question. It's becoming more and more important, and I think more and more PIs are realizing that as well because they have been in the same shoes. The
Yes.
current new PIs know that well.
Yes.
So I think as we go, that'll be lesser and lesser.
Yes.
Probably the previous generation PIs might be doing that.
Yep.
So there are many people I talk to who have this toxic lab situation and trying to figure it out. I would say communication is key, right?
Yeah.
So you have to communicate with the boss,
Yeah.
let them know what you're feeling, ask them what needs to be delivered, what will make them happy, right? And then talk it out practically. I think there's no better answer than communication, open communication to
Oh,
make it work. Even I had one bad year of postdoc in my life,
okay.
very, very bad year of postdoc in my life.
I see.
But you can use that to get better into your next job,
Yes.
right? So that one year where nothing worked for me in my postdoc,
Yes.
but when I left that place and went to the next place, I sold myself as an expert in that technology because I was troubleshooting the heck out of that technology,
Yes. So,
right? Whether it worked or not was different, but I learned the ins and out of that technology.
yes.
And I used it as a lesson learned and expertise in the next job,
Yes.
right? So, yeah, build good relationship, have open communications, try to
Yeah.
figure out what is the obstacle, right? If you know what the obstacle is, what the hurdle is, then you know
Then
better
you
what to
can.
tell them.
Yeah. So, like learning from your mistake and rectifying it in the next step is what we should all do.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that brings to my other question. You initially mentioned that you have a very good relationship with your PhD mentor.
Mm,
So even I do have a very good relationship with my PhD mentor. He is in Germany. He started a company now, but
hmm.
we are still talking. So how do you maintain this relationship?
Yeah. Good question. Simple, right? After a period of time, they're not your mentor anymore. They're
Yeah.
not your boss anymore. They're friends.
Yes.
So how do you keep friends? Use the same thing, right?
Talking to them. Yeah.
Talk to them. The respect is same.
Yeah.
The way you talk to them is different. Now you are colleagues. You are
Yes.
friends. You
Yes.
have experienced life.
Yeah.
You give and take,
I,
right?
that.
So have them on your phone, on your cell phone, call them once in a while. Remember to call once in a while. That is the most important thing,
Yes.
right? So once you start doing it, then they will reciprocate
That's.
that, right? So
Oh,
stay in touch, communicate, let them know, if you had to build a relationship, first of all, they should respect you as much as you
yes.
respect them. Maybe not as much, but at least respect you. So there should be something there that they
Yeah.
value out of it,
Yes.
right? So, and then as you grow older, you all have more common things to talk about: life and family, and
Yeah.
experiences and
Definitely.
science.
Yeah.
So share those things, and LinkedIn is a good way to do. If you're
Yes.
both on Facebook, that's another good way to do.
I see.
Common topics, bring them up, talk about it.
Yeah. So I can say we can put communication in inverted commas here.
Double.
Okay. So, what's the most and the least enjoyable part of your job right now?
Good question. Um, so when I took the job first, my field-based job
Yeah.
first, I told my friends, some of my friends, hey, I'm taking this kind of a job, and they're like, wow, Raghu, this is the type of job you're fit for, right?
Oh,
Because you're social, you like to talk to people, you make
yeah.
friends well, you connect, network with people. This is the kind of job that will work for you.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what I like about my job,
Oh,
right? Networking, connecting, making friends,
yeah.
plus the opportunity to not be bored,
Yeah.
right? It's not a monotonous life when
Yeah.
I'm out in the field.
Okay.
Every day, I get an opportunity to talk to a scientist,
Yeah.
an inventor, a creator, an entrepreneur, a drug developing director, a vice president, a CEO, a CSO,
Yeah.
all this constant
People.
information
Yes.
and new things and new
Yes.
technologies, new drugs
Yeah.
coming out. So I love that part, the excitement and the non-monotonous
Yeah.
thing of life, right? Plus, it also gave me the opportunity to travel a lot,
I see.
right? Within 5 years, 6 years of my life in BD,
Yeah.
right? I had traveled about 30, 35 out of 50 states in the
Okay.
US, right? That was amazing.
Yeah.
So that was another nice part. But if you ask about what is the least enjoyable part,
Yeah.
I'd say, again, it reflects to the same thing, traveling, right? You're out
Yeah.
there, you have to figure things on the fly. You're missing out on life and time with the kids, especially once you start having kids.
Yeah.
You're going out, coming back, traveling. All of a sudden, you see your kids are 5 years old, and what happened? You never saw them talk, you never saw them walk, didn't
Yeah.
go to the park with them. You don't want to make it so serious, but you start focusing on your career, and things take priority over time,
Yes.
right? If you can balance that out, I think you can make it work for you,
Yeah.
right?
So,
So, yeah,
so as I said, balancing. If you would like to balance the life of work and home, how would you do that?
you have to pay attention to it. You definitely have to make a conscious effort,
Okay.
right? So you can get caught up and carried away by your work. You can say, I have to do this, I have to do this right now. But
Yes.
similarly, you also have to do the other thing right now,
Yes.
right? You have to consciously make an effort to be there.
Okay.
It's no longer balancing work life balance. Now it is, how do you multitask? How do you do as many things as you can together,
Yes.
right? And how do you assign priorities to it?
Yeah.
If you value it, you will do it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Same thing with people ask me on STEMpeers, and I get so many calls all the time from
Yeah.
members, right? They say, how do you get time? You are one of the first guys to respond or, call back or give advice. And I'm like, I value it,
Yes.
right? So if I can help, why not? If I have 5 minutes, I'm walking out to pick up something, I'll give you a call if that's all it takes, 5 minutes,
Yes.
right? So I think if you assign value to something, you will do it. So
Yeah.
learn to assign value, then
Yes.
you can balance it well.
I see. So, as we are talking about STEMpeers, you are one of the founding members of STEMpeers. And I initially talked about STEMpeers a little bit, but can you tell me what STEMpeer aims at and what are the next steps or future goals of STEMpeers?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to make a correction. I am not one of the founding
Okay.
members, but I
So,
got kind of adapted into that role.
okay.
I came in a couple years into after the organization
Okay.
came together. The
Yeah.
founding members are probably people in STEM peers now, Ananda and Abhi, and there's a couple other people
Okay.
who had major roles in it who are not there currently.
Okay.
But it has been a wonderful organization to be part
Yeah.
of. And so STEM Peers is a nonprofit organization,
Yes.
as an intro, and it was recently recognized as the world's largest STEM related networking group,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that was a title given by Nature Biotech.
Yeah.
So we are proud of that accomplishment. We are about close to 18,000 people
People. Yes.
worldwide,
Yeah.
right, in all parts of the world. And it is a great platform provided to STEM folks where they can discuss their challenges, their successes in the professional life,
Yeah.
exchange information, help each other. And it ranges all the way from asking questions about visa, basically what visa is best or how do I change visa, what should I do, all
Yes.
the way from there to discussing toxic lab situations. How do I handle this? Is there a postdoc position here? I'm applying for a job in this place. Is somebody there who I can talk to for
Yeah.
some informational interviews?
Yeah.
Then reaching out to mentors, people who are willing to give advice and help them. There's so many people with so many different levels of expertise
Okay.
that can all be put together.
Yeah.
Basically, so it started off with a couple of postdocs, trying to help each other and wondering where they can get help,
Yes.
and it flourished into such a nice platform.
Yeah.
And over time, it's grown into this huge organization, which was initially called Career Support Group,
Yeah.
CSG, and now it is STEMpeers,
Yes.
right? And beyond that, I personally think, this is the perfect breeding ground for future leaders and future mentors, right? So it's not only looking at people who are growing, but it's for people who have already grown, who already gotten into positions for the second level, third level, fourth level transitions, right? Becoming leaders
Yeah.
themselves and also becoming mentors themselves at STEM peers.
Yes.
So now currently, I've been pulled into the organization as a board of directors or member of
Yeah.
directors, helping them with more organizational and administrative stuff in
Yes.
addition to what we do. We have different subgroups in STEM peers, like writing groups, consulting
Yes.
groups. We have something called Gurukul, which is an amazing subgroup where people get in who are seriously right at that point looking for a transition. They
Yeah.
get help with their, resumes, how to write cover letters,
Yes.
informational interviews. We have a few coaches. We have some really good mentors who've gone through this process, transition, and come back as mentors.
Yes.
Some of them are right here on the screen around us
Yeah.
right now.
So, what's one important thing that one should keep in mind while making this leap from academics to industry? One critical thing that you would say.
Hmm, that's a tough question. There's so many things, right? But I'd say the one important thing is in you,
Yeah.
within you. I think it is attitude, right? Your own attitude, your own mindset.
Yes.
You need to be aware that you are changing from one kind of an environment to another kind of environment,
Yes.
and you should be prepared to be shocked, surprised, learn new things.
Yes.
Like they say, the saying, the
Yeah.
only thing that's constant is change,
Yes.
right? So you have to be prepared to see changes. The lifestyle will change, the practices will change, the way you do things will be changed, the expectations will be changed. So, and over time, everything changes, right? So
Yes.
you have to be open minded,
Mhm.
and learn to adapt and adapt quickly and look at the positive side of things, right? So
Okay.
you can always blame stuff when things don't work. But I'm the half full, optimistic kind of guy
Yeah.
where I want to look at the good things and see how you can benefit.
I see. So, for example, a person has done 10 plus years of postdoc
Hmm.
or has been in academics for 10 plus years. So, what roles are present in the industry for a person like that? Because industry people want people with industry experience, but not academics. So,
No, it's a very good question, and we see as we see more and more people are getting into that
yeah.
that group. I think it's important to start planning ahead for
Yes.
people who are still not there. I want
Yes.
to start there. Start planning ahead. Start thinking ahead. You don't have to go through the same pain and the same structure that others went through.
Yes.
You don't have to say, okay, Raghu went through 8 years of postdoc. I'll also do 8 years. No, it's not going to work,
Yes.
right? Or it may not work. It might work,
Yeah.
right? But start planning your life like how you want to do it and aim for something and work hard at it. But going back to your question, if you already there, there's nothing wrong in it. First
Yes.
thing I want to tell people, there's nothing wrong in it. I have few friends who are still functioning as experienced senior postdocs. Maybe their title will change as scientist or
Yes.
senior research scientist or associate scientist or whatever it is, right? So there's nothing wrong in it if you are enjoying it, right? Some people look at the stability in life. If you have enough funds, you are with the PI, or you yourself are a PI, you have plenty of funds to carry you through. That's good.
Yes.
But if you're trying to transition, there are always options. The first thing to do is to be aware of it and design your background, design your skill set to fit something that's available. Keep looking for openings. You can always go in as scientist. You can always go in as principal scientist into
Yeah.
companies, right? But what's important is the skill set. You had 10 years, make yourself an expert in something,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
If it is not available in your postdoc lab, put some extra effort into it. Take
Yeah.
some additional courses, do some training, right?
Yeah.
But you have to become good at something. Otherwise, why would anybody hire you?
Yes.
Right?
Right. That's
So I'd say do that. And there are openings where people will consider you, but
yes.
you also have to come up with an answer as to you don't have industry experience. How can we hire you? You have to
Yes.
figure out how to answer that question.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I talk to people when I kind of quote unquote coach them or talk to them about it. How
Okay.
do you answer such questions? How do you prepare for those answers? Right. And it's not only going to an industry.
Yeah.
Once you become an expert in a area,
Yeah.
you can present yourself as a consultant.
Yeah.
You can be an advisor to a company. If you build that network, build a connection with people,
Yes.
you can be part of a startup company. You
Hmm.
can be a scientific advisor. You can be a co-founder,
Yeah.
right? You can be the backbone of a company, technologies that are coming up,
Yes.
right? There's so many different ways. You can also go into, if you build your skill set properly, you can go into maybe doing some equity research,
Yes.
right? You can go into communications and writing, like
Yeah.
you might be transitioning into.
Yeah.
There's so much there you can do. The thing is to don't lose heart, talk to
Yes.
people, find out your passion, see what you want to do, get some advice from people, and start working on it.
Yes. And if I may quote, like a collaboration is also a key that you need to learn.
Definitely. That I agree 100%. So collaboration and networking, right?
Yes.
And communications, like we touched earlier.
Yeah.
Um, Networking, I think, is key.
Networking is.
Um,
Yeah.
and when you're in the lab, we tend to be like, in our own little bubble,
Yes.
in academics. So you have to open up, talk to
Yeah.
people, connect with people. They say, I heard this somebody saying, if you want to be known for a particular area of expertise,
Yeah.
you have to be in that field for 10 years,
Yeah.
right? And if you want to make connections with people in that field, you have to go to or meet them at conferences at least 5 times year
Yeah.
after year. That's when you become known in that field or known to that person. So it is hard work, right?
Yes. It
So
is.
you have to do that and keep connections. And when you meet people in conferences or meetings,
Yeah.
connect with them. Use LinkedIn as a good platform,
Yeah.
right? And stay in touch.
So, Pastor, can you provide students, postdocs, or people who want to transition out of academia some guidance or tips? Your top tips.
Yeah, like I was saying in the last example, last
Yeah.
answer, right? I can't emphasize the importance of network
Yeah.
more here.
Yes.
Networking, right? Very important. You first thing I'd say for people, if you're looking to transition, use the professional platform LinkedIn
Yes.
effectively. It is a
Yes.
fantastic platform. Create a stellar profile,
Yeah.
right? Get feedback from your friends, from people. Look at other people. If you
Yes.
have a uh, um, mentor, if you have a role model, look
Yeah.
at their profile.
Yes.
There are billions of profiles on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Find somebody who you look up to and see
Yeah.
how they made their profile,
Yeah.
and look at multiple profiles and try to create a profile that stands out.
Yeah.
Right, that's the first thing to do, because when you apply for a
Hmm.
job, the first thing they'll do is look on social
Yeah.
network, look on LinkedIn,
Yes.
right? So I'd say use that effectively. Once you're
Oh,
there, make sure you have all the keywords that you're good at in your profile. Connect with people.
yeah.
When you connect with people, put in a personal note, make it relevant,
Yes.
give them a reason or some connection, right?
Yes.
Um, mm, and don't make it stocky, like you're stalking them,
Yes.
right? And then also post post articles, post relevant things once in a while. There's so much information out there, and you identify yourself as somebody who's related to a certain thing and start posting.
Yeah.
If you are into writing, display your writing skills. If you're interested in next genome sequencing, talk about next genome sequencing. There's
Yes.
so much about it. So highlight your skills, comment on others posts,
Yeah.
who have visibility,
Yes.
tag them,
Yeah.
who have visibility, and ask for others' perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of just sharing a link,
Yeah.
add your comment and ask for others' opinions on it. So that's how you build a network and connection. And once you start, when you know what you want to do, or you try to figure out what you want to do, try to look at profiles of people with that
Network.
feature, the character, the job title that you want. See
Yes.
how their trajectory is. Reach
Yes.
out to them, right? Tell them that you have a fantastic background. Would you mind sparing 10 minutes? I'd like to ask you a few questions. How did you achieve the things you achieved?
Yeah.
Right? Those are quote unquote informational interviews,
Yes.
right? If you put the name on it, they become very formal and become tense. So don't tell them you want an informational
Right.
interview.
Yeah.
Get an informational interview, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we have a lot of these questions and tips and suggestions and answers on STEMpeers
Yes.
on the Facebook. We
Yes.
have a few mentors. You have to mention Tracy here, who's a very good resource, who does a lot of webinars and coaching
Yes.
sessions on Gurukul, right? So it's a treasure field, treasure box,
Yeah.
Gurukul and STEMpeers. You can find all this and more information there, right?
Yes.
So feel free to reach out to us
Yeah.
at STEMpeers or me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah.
I personally enjoy or like um,
Yes.
LinkedIn. I have a huge network,
Yeah.
close to 4,000 people on it. So I get pretty good visibility on it. I use it to my benefit. So I'd say you should start using it if you're looking to transition and networking.
Okay.
But bottom line, network.
Network, and I would add engagement as well.
Definitely get engaged.
Yes. So, what do you think? How different is it, like transitioning 10 years ago and transitioning now? How do you compare these?
Wow, that's a loaded question, man. I think it's become more challenging now,
Yes.
right? Because like evolution of any society, any environment, right? There's more there's more resources, there's more fine tuning, there's more granularity, there's more availability,
Yes.
there's more information out there,
Yes.
right? And there are more candidates out there.
Yeah.
So if you are interviewing for a job today, as soon as the job advertisement goes out, within 2 days there are 100 applications coming,
Applications. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Those days 10 years ago, I don't think that happened,
Yes.
right? If you knew and you applied, you probably were one of five applicants.
Yeah.
Your chances were high, right? And then maybe social networking, professional networking was not so robust those days.
Yeah.
It took time.
Yes.
But now everything is happening like this. So if you're in the right place at the right time,
Yeah.
it can
You.
happen, or you know the right people,
Yes.
right? So that's why, again, coming back to networking, it becomes important. Networking, hardworking, uh, staying ahead of the curve, it
Yes.
becomes important. So reach out to people to ask for help. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
The worst thing they can say is no,
No. Yes.
right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of different, and also, like I said, times are changing now with the pandemic. Also, a lot of people got laid off. At the
Yes.
same time, a lot of people are getting hired,
Yes.
right? As you may have noticed on STEMpeers Facebook, I posted the other day,
Yeah.
just in this last month, at least 7 or 8 people that
Wow.
I know reached out to me and said they got new jobs,
Yes.
right? And they're transitioning. Some of them first transition, second, some of them second transition. But it's happening.
Yeah.
If you don't have a green card, you're looking for visa sponsorship. Even that is happening.
Yes.
Few of them needed visa sponsorship. Even that is happening. So there are opportunities out there. So go for it.
Yeah.
Try hard. Work hard. You have to make a conscious effort.
Mhm.
I tell people when they reach out to me and they send their resumes,
Yeah.
there are some resumes where they haven't put effort into it,
Yes.
right? Or they don't have the right person giving them feedback,
Yes.
right? So I'd say first thing, do that, share it with others and get
Yeah.
feedback and make it work for you, right? Because if if your resume doesn't represent you, how are
Yes.
you going to get the job you're looking
Yeah.
for? Right?
And yeah, sorry, you wanted to say something, I guess.
No, no,
Uh,
I just want to emphasize that it's very different, and
yes.
timing is important. Don't wait for too long. Work at it. Customize your application. Customize your cover letter. All of that is becoming important nowadays. And networking, knowing people.
Yes. So, out of this, what do you enjoy outside of work? What are your hobbies?
Wow. I like to laze and watch movies on TV. I like to draw and paint.
Yes.
I've been drawing and painting for a really long time, so I enjoy doing that. That is definitely a stress buster and gets you focused back on things. Right, takes your mind away when you're distracted with something.
Yes.
I like a little acting is one of my passion too. I haven't got the opportunity to do that lately, but I've been part of a nice project in the past few years.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, those are my passions and distractions, and of course, spending time with the family, traveling whenever I
Yes.
can. Now traveling has become almost impossible,
Yeah.
but like to travel with the family.
I see. That's great. So, are you trying in Hollywood as well? Acting?
Why not, right? If I get an opportunity, sure.
Why not? Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
If you know of somebody, let me know. I'm
definitely.
interested.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. I'm really
Yeah.
happy to talk to you and got a lot to know from you. And thank you for your advices.
Yeah, it has been fun. It's been great. What you're doing at Addictive Brain is also amazing. Keep up the good work. I think you have a good bunch of people also working alongside
Yeah,
you and making it work for us. And thanks for again connecting with STEM peers
pleasure.
and letting me talk with you for this time. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully people
Yes,
find some feedback helpful. And I'm open to networking, as I said,
yes,
connecting with people on LinkedIn
yeah.
instead of Facebook,
Link.
LinkedIn. That's
Yes,
better for professional
yeah.
networking. But it was fun. Thank you for the
Thank you
opportunity.
very much.
We can do it again sometime later.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.